Okay, awesome. I think I got it. Alright, hi guys. I just started the live stream, so we should be good now. Alright. Waiting for people to start hopping on. See, there we go. Having a little bit of technical difficulties. But we should be good now. Alright. Just waiting for people to hop on. Let's see. Okay, so this is basically my first live stream on here, so that's really exciting. I don't really have a topic for tonight, other than just sort of answering questions. So I do have the live chat going, so if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and drop them over there. I have never done a live stream before, so I am not really sure how this is supposed to work, but we'll figure it out. So we're just gonna see how it goes. We'll see if we get any fun questions. If we don't get tons of questions, I can definitely talk about just some related topics. I think last week we talked about deities on my channel, which was kind of fun. So I realized I didn't really get to finish that topic. Like later, I rewatched it. So basically, I talked about how you would mostly go about doing your research, to finding what you want to do and what you want to work with. But that being said, I didn't go ahead and list a whole bunch of them. So if that's something you guys want, let me know in the chat. We can talk about it. The only thing is, if we talk about pantheons that I don't currently practice, I might not be the most helpful as far as like in the context of a live stream when I haven't had time to do my homework on it. If you'd rather I do so, and you want me to go ahead and make a part 2 to that, you can leave that in the chat as well. I'll definitely go ahead and do that. Let's see, I'm just checking the chat. it looks like we've got a couple people kind of coming in. It's exciting. Hello. Definitely go ahead and leave me some questions over in the chat. We can go ahead and talk. Why don't I show you guys some fun books I've been reading lately, because I have a lot of books that I'm trying to get through right now. Let's see, let me go ahead and grab those. Okay, so I have quite a big stack of books here. I hope you can see them all. But yeah, I have a lot of books here that I'm trying to read lately. So let's see, this is probably my newest one. It is Southern Cunning. It has to do with folklore-ish, with witchcraft and stuff like that, and it's just, it's really fun and really exciting. Let's see. So it's basically witchcraft as it applies to American folklore and the South, which is something that's just sort of interesting to me, because I feel like a lot of Wiccan practices and traditions are based on mostly Anglo-Saxon practices, so I think it's kind of fun to have just a little something that is American, I guess. You don't really see a whole lot of American folklore pop up in religion, so it's really neat to have that. But it's really cool. It talks about, like, you know, the Bible and church magic, and there's one about ghosts in the land meeting nature spirits in the South, making the crossroads, call of the familiar, the cost of cursing, protections, omens, dreams, divination, language of the spirits, searching for witchcraft in the stories of the South. So a lot of really cool things in this book, and I'm really excited to see how it goes. So that will be exciting. I'll have to let you guys know how this goes and see if this is helpful for me at all. Let's see, what else do we have? I have my Witchery, Brace the Witch Within by Juliet Diaz. I love this book. I do like her business, but I think I like the book more, to be honest. If you don't know who Juliet Diaz is, she is a witch who, her whole family has been doing this basically forever. So there's a lot of old ancestral wisdom kind of stuff in her practice. And essentially, she made this book so that there is a spell trapped in here, just waiting for you to get your grubby little hands on it and wake it up, which I think is really special. So she actually includes a book dressing and consecration spell. So I dressed mine personally with my favorite oil, which is the Witch of the Woods by Brett Manning, which is my favorite oil in the whole world, and I use it in a lot of my practice, and I'm really sad because I'm still waiting for her to restock, and then I'm just going to buy all of it because it's fantastic. If you can get your hands on it, I highly recommend it. It's a really good oil. It smells like hearth and moss, and it's just magical. So that is that. I dressed it with that oil, and I basically wafted it over the fire of the spell I was doing at the time, and it just has such a magical smell. Like, it's so good. It's so good. And something I found really interesting with this is she leaves a lot of blank space, which she didn't expressly say why she left all the blank space, and she didn't say that the blank space is there on purpose. But what I've been doing is I've been utilizing the blank space, and I've been using it because now this book is all lovely and consecrated and dressed. So now, if I can find the pages, I've been putting quotes and manifestations. I can find them. Let's see. Here are some manifestations I've written down. Mostly just self-empowering things, to kind of get me through the mental fog. I also have a labyrinth that I've drawn out. So I basically drew in purple a Minoan labyrinth, and I drew it out in purple, and then I followed it with the green. So the green is basically the solution of the labyrinth, and the purple is the actual labyrinth. And labyrinths are one of the things that are really sacred to the goddess Hecate. So I don't work with them all the time, but I try to work with them whenever I can, basically. Because labyrinths have a really good way of clearing your head, so I definitely wanted to pop one in there. And I found so far that this is some really cool magic that's tucked inside of there, so that's fun. Let's see, I'm just checking. Alright. Chat's been pretty quiet so far, I'm surprised. Let's see. Alright. But yeah, she talks about 10 ways to heal the earth, and it's just basically being eco-conscious for the Wiccan or pagan or witch or however you align yourself. We're basically saying, you know, the planet is our mother and we have to take care of her, essentially. And it just goes through a list of all the things you could do for that. So that's kind of fun. So that is something I'm trying to, I've skimmed it so far, but I need to really sit down with this and meditate with this and really like break it in and love it, because I'm really excited to work with this. So far just about everything I've written in here for manifestations has pretty much worked. So if you guys can and you need a good witchy book, definitely try this one out, because it's got a lot of good stuff going on right now in here. Let's see. But yeah, it's got a lot of neat stuff in here. So let's go on to the next one. Let's see. I got a couple books that are a little outside my genre, just because I'm trying to broaden my knowledge of kind of where modern paganism came from, and kind of it's more the more esoteric origins of what we all do. Which I would say modern paganism and Wicca in specific, because that's what I know the most about. It has a lot of old, ancient roots, but it also has a lot of more modern esoteric roots in it as well. So that's the part I don't know a whole ton about. Like, I know that we do these things, but the question is, why do we do these things? Because I love to ask questions. So basically, I got myself a couple books, and these are going to help me understand that. So there's a lot more about that kind of thing that I'd really like to learn about. Just to kind of understand the progression of everything. So this one, which also, this book is beautiful. Like, the foiling is just impeccable, and I love it. Let's see. Gosh, I keep pushing it the wrong way. Let's see, but it's got the torch, which I love. I love the symbolisms of that. So it's got the moon, and the sun, and the pentacle, the snake on the staff, very cool, and of course the eye, which is very cool. So, yes, this book is really cool. So it's got basically the linear progression of the occult and kind of how it formed. So it talks about basically everything from the 6th century BC to, I think, about 2012, which covers a lot of ground. So, let's see, yes, 2012 is the last entry in here, and that is the Aztec calendar. So it'll be really interesting to see if any fun events that would belong in this end up happening quite soon, because it didn't come out all that long ago. So there we go. Very interesting. I am definitely excited to start reading through this. Again, I did skim it, didn't get to really sit down and play around with this yet. And kind of in the same vein, to really understand, where our practices come from and stuff like that. And also some witchcraft and just other occult practices. I have this one, which is Black Arts by Richard Cavendish. This looks really cool. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this looks really cool. But it talks about all different kinds of magic and witchcraft and just all this different stuff. One thing that I've been playing around with from this book is numerology, which I've never really played around with before, but I'm having an absolute blast. You can essentially find out kind of what your personality type is based on your birthday, which is really fun. They talk about abracadabra in here. They talk about, let's see, what else do I have flagged? The different correspondences to the planets and the zodiacs. The different correspondences as far as plants, stones. Let's see. If I remember correctly, I am a number 5. So it says, a 5 is a much brighter person altogether. He is restless and jumpy, clever, impatient. He lives on his nerves. The unusual and the bizarre fascinate him. He loves to travel, new people, different surroundings. 5s are jacks of all trades and masters of none. Masters of none. Attracted by everything, held by nothing. They enjoy gambling, speculation, and risks. They make excellent salesmen. They are adventurous, attractive people, quick-tempered, sometimes conceited and sarcastic. They detest responsibility and avoid it. They hate to be tied down or in a rut, often inconsiderate and self-indulgent. They are resourceful, resilient, many-sided people, hard to analyze or pin down. So, there we go. Very interesting. Let's see. I just noticed we have a question. Let's see, which book are you talking about? Is it the one I'm on now, or one let's see. Oh, okay, so this one. Yeah. 5. Just 1 second. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so it's really interesting. So basically, so I basically go ahead and show you how I did this. So you first basically start by adding up all of the numbers of your birthday. So I did 04 plus 21 plus 1,996 equals 2021. So you add 20 to 21, and I get 41, and then you reduce that into 5, hence 5. Yeah, so it's definitely really fun and really cool. So it's definitely fun. I find that your numerology number is just a little more accurate than your zodiac sign. It's because there's so many more that you could be. It's definitely a little more on track, I found. So it's just very interesting. Yeah, let's see. So what else do I have in here? It does also, depending on who you are, it lists people in your number. So you can also find your number based on your name, which you may get different numbers, you might find. So basically, another way to add it all up is, so here's the example, Francis T. Baker, and all of the numbers correspond to, all of the letters correspond to a different number. So then you basically just add up your name, and you get that. So this is like the little key here, and essentially you just go through that, and there you go. Let's see. So that is the numerology portion. Let's see, correspondences, which is fun. Abracadabra, I already showed you guys that. Let's see. They have a chapter on necromancy and psychic attack, which is very interesting. Let's see. They also talk about worship of the devil and the origins of Satan, basically as as he pertains to like the Old Testament and the Abrahamic religions. So if you practice an Abrahamic religion, you might find that interesting. And then they go ahead and talk about witchcraft, which is very fun. But yeah, so that's this. This has honestly really great reviews, and I can totally see why. This one, again, have not got to like fully read this and play around with this, but it looks amazing, and I've already learned so much from it, so like, definitely. Then I just have a couple random crystal books that I am reading. This one is still my favorite, but this one does tell you how to cleanse crystals, like by crystal type. They also have things like spirit quartz and ametrine in here, which you don't usually see in other books. They have azurite, aura quartz, aragonite, apophyllite. There is ametrine, which is really cool. Yeah, so that is pretty much all of the books that I am doing right now. Let's see. But yeah, so lots of fun books to look at. Let's see, I'm trying to think if there is anything else I can talk about with you guys. I'm trying to come up with something fun to do for Samhain. I think this year I'm going to try to definitely carve a pumpkin or two, because why not? You can't not carve pumpkins on Samhain. I'm going to try to put up some sort of temporary ancestry altar, which essentially what you would do is, it's sort of like, the only thing I can relate it to is Day of the Dead, where essentially if you have ancestors that you know that have passed on, that you'd like to be kind of reconnected to, you can put up pictures of them. You can put up an altar to just your ancestors in general as a whole, to kind of gain some ancestral wisdom from them. If you do have pictures, I find that's the best way to go about things, just because it makes it a little bit more personal. But you could put up some pictures, you could put up, if you know kind of where your family comes from in the world. You can put up pictures of there, and just kind of have fun with it. It's really fun to kind of put up an ancestral altar and try to make a connection. It's just really fun. I did that either last year or a few years ago, and essentially you need 3 candles. You need a white candle, a black candle, and a red candle. And essentially you let them burn, and I do have a card that has the incantation on it, but essentially what you would do is ask that the veil be lifted enough that you can make a connection with your ancestors. You would then go about your preferred method of divination to make contact with them. That could be pendulums. If you do spirit boards, you could do spirit boards, tarot cards. Basically, any form of divination that you prefer, that would be essentially what you would work on. And it's always nice to leave a little offering. So, like we talked about in the normal altar, typically you have some sort of offering dish to whoever you decide to work with. You might not be working with anyone at all, in which case you don't really need an offering dish. If you don't want to, you can, or you could just decide to skip that if it's not important to you, if you're not working with anyone in particular. I don't think I did that in the beginning, but if you do find someone you are connected to and you want to make an offering to them, that's basically how you would go about that. It's always nice to leave a bit of food or candy or just something as a kind of token to say thank you for being here, thank you for coming and answering my questions. You would then essentially ask that they have a safe journey back and that they're guided back safely, and then you would blow out your candles after sending everybody back. Very important. Don't forget to do that. You don't want that. Because essentially if you were to do that and then forget to send everybody back, they could get stuck, and that's no good. But yes, so you basically ask that they have a safe journey back. You would blow out your candles and you would close your circle. There is a lot of other things you could do for Samhain too, other than just the ancestor work. It's a great time for psychic related things, so intuition, manifestation, any sort of divination Samhain is a really good time for that. There's usually some sort of food element to Samhain, at least when I celebrate it. The harvests in general for me are a bit of a feast. For each one, there's just a little something. So it's always nice to have, like a pumpkin pie or just a nice meal with friends and something like that. So it's definitely a fun thing to do. You could do apple cider, you could do apple anything. basically just traditional fall foods are really good for Samhain. There is a lot of other things you could do as well. Some people like to go to graveyards and that sort of thing on Samhain as sort of a spiritual connection sort of thing. And then there's the obvious Halloween festivities, trick-or-treating, candy, scary movies. So there's definitely a lot you could do, both magical and non-magical. So there's definitely plenty of things you could do for Samhain. So if you guys have any fun ideas, you can leave those down below. I have been decorating for Samhain, I think, since July. The 3 harvest festivals are probably my favorite time of the year. Basically, as soon as, like, mid-July hits, I'm just waiting for Lunasa, to start the Harvest Festival and start decorating, because I love fall decorations. I actually have a bunch of harvested things. Above me, I have my poppies. I have my herbal bouquet bundle with different dried straw flowers and bunny's tails, which is the herb. They're not actual bunny tails. It's got a giant poppy pod in it. I'm not quite sure what the flowers are. I'm talking about the middle one. Let's see, that one. And then I have my beautiful bundle of Silver King wormwood. It's the Silver King variety, because I don't know if you can tell, but it's almost a metallic-y, slightly mint-colored silver color, and it's beautiful. But I have them hung above my bed right now, because both poppies and wormwood, wormwood is used in flying ointment, which is good for prophetic dreams and sleeping in general. And then poppies are usually used in sleep, beauty, and love spells. So this is kind of my dreams, beauty, sleep kind of bundle situation, which is why they're right above my bed. I have my 2 inches balls. I have my one with Fae correspondences. I have my one with my Hecate correspondences. I am hoping to get a Samhain blend soon. The woman who makes them is absolutely lovely. And I love just about everything she makes. And they came out so beautifully. And they're just these beautiful glass ornaments filled with herbs and tulle and stones. And then they're like beautifully adorned with these like macrame tassels with all these little charms hanging down. And they're just really, really beautiful. But yes, so I think I want to get her Samhain blend. That'll probably go in my filming corner, which is that way. You guys can actually see it from this angle for once. Let's see. Let's go over to the filming area. Typically, when you guys watch, this is where I'd be sitting. I have my Halloween banners directly above the big banner that says Halloween. You can see my you can see yourself. But you can also see my little skeleton pendants, and there's some little moons and leaves and stars and things, and those were actually made by Roberts of Herspeak, which is probably just about one of my favorite witches ever. She is just super creative and super lovely, and she inspires me a whole ton. If you guys are ever feeling stuck, just creatively, you're just stuck, and you're not sure what to do, either if you're starting a grimoire, which is your witch's spell book, or if you are trying to put together an altar and you just can't make it look right, and you just have no idea what to put on it, because who knows what to put on an altar, really. Putting together your altar is something that's totally up to you. Anything that you feel like should be on there, should be on there. So watching her channel is a really good way to get unstuck and to stop beating yourself up, essentially. Some really lovely mail by her. Recently, she does, I think about once every Wiccan holiday, she does a mail thing. So I have this really lovely bookmark that she made, which, get a load of that, huh? That's really cool. I very much like the things she sends me. I love those banners just so much. So I have, this was Fall Harvest one, I believe. Oh no, this is our Sabbath. So we have Black Cat. We have a lot of cool things, actually. This is just beautiful. All of her work in general is just beautiful. So we have, it says that magic is afoot. We have this really cool moon-face bookmark. Not going to show everything that's in here, just because I think she's still selling this. So if any of you decide to get this, I don't want to ruin your surprise. But trust me when I say that she makes some really cool things. Let's see, I'll just show you a couple more things from the old one. Let's see, this is probably my favorite thing that she sent us. Okay, I'll pick a couple. This is the Ancestors card for the Saturn one. Okay, so I guess this was the fall one. Now we're doing the Saturn one. Let's see, and it's this little protection bag, which is really beautiful. But I really to take those away. But yes, so this is the filming corner. Got all my little friends inside me. My little pumpkin family and my witch. And I've got a lot of plants and things. This is a tripod that I usually film on. My little harvest wreath and my plants and this awesome spell candle that I put together. But it's got a lot of really cool things in there, so that's fun. Alright. Back over here we go. Let's see. Alright. But yes, so definitely lots of fun plans to come up with soon. I definitely, once I have time to do so, I definitely want to get into a lot more spell work, because lately I've just been in such a funk with that, like I just don't have time. So I definitely need to start doing some more of that soon. But yeah, let's see. Ooh, we have a couple more people on right now. Hello. More people are hopping on. This is so exciting. Right. Hello. Oh, this is so fun. I've never done a live stream before. Can you guys tell? This is very exciting. Let's see, what else am I reading lately? I also have a couple books that are a little off topic from what I usually talk about. But I am really into true crime. As I'm sure many of you are, because apparently true crime is way more popular than I thought it was. I picked up a couple books on my most latest trip. Let's see, I'm just going to scoot you guys a little closer so you can actually see me. Let's see, so I have Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered, the definitive how-to guide by Miss Karen Kilgariff and Miss Georgia Harstark, and I love them so much. If you don't know what this is the book written by two lovely ladies who have a podcast called My Favorite Murder, and it's about true crime and just mysterious happenings. It says, a dual memoir by the creators of the #1 hit podcast, My Favorite Murder. And it's written in the cool serial killer font. Because of course it is. But it's basically just a memoir and literally just a how-to guide on staying sane and not dying, which is very helpful for us modern 21st century ladies. But yes, it's a very good read, and even if you're not into true crime, I think you'd find it very interesting and quite hilarious, because these women are very funny. Let's see. And also the artwork in here is just really cool. Let's see if I can find a good example. Let's see. This one is for the chapter Stay Out of the Forest. And it tells you who illustrated each one. So if you like the art, you can go ahead and find the artist, which is very fun. So I've been reading this. I read the whole thing at least once. This was actually just a really good book. I'm a huge fan of their podcast. I listened to the audiobook of this, which is absolutely hilarious. If you like audiobooks and you like listening to things, this was absolutely amazing. I loved every single bit of this, and I even wrote, I actually ended up writing my school paper on this because it was that good. I just wanted to reread it for the sake of school. So, this was wonderful. I just started reading Black Dahlia Red Rose by Pu Iwo, which is just a really good book so far. I didn't get terribly far into it, but it basically talks about the unsolved murder of the Black Dahlia, which is, her real name I believe is Elizabeth Short, but this is a very interesting book, and I believe that's her on the front there. But yes, very good book if you're into true crime and that sort of whole thing. But yes, yeah, let's see. Alright guys, it is just about 9 o'clock now, so thank you guys for watching. I will see you next week with our regularly scheduled programming. If you care to leave me a suggestion, something you'd like me to talk about, definitely go ahead and leave that in the chat or down below, or wherever you feel like leaving that. If you'd like to see me between downloads, or uploads I suppose, go ahead and I will leave my Instagrams in the down bar, or they're also linked in every single one of my videos and at the end. So I will see you guys next time, and I hope you had fun learning about Samhain plans and all of the books that I'm reading. And yeah, I will see you guys next week. Bye guys!